Detailed description of sketch creation. Materials: thick A3 paper, HB2 pencil, eraser. Step 1. Basic frame of the figure. At this stage, a basic frame is created that will help to correctly position the figure on the sheet and set its proportions. Start by drawing an oval for the head. Divide it with a vertical line. It will help to correctly position the facial features. Add a horizontal line just below the middle of the oval. This is the eye line. Outline the shape of the neck. 2 slightly inclined lines coming out from the bottom of the head. Draw the contours of the shoulders and upper body. Lightly indicate the width of the chest and the location of the arms. Step 2. Outline the shape of the head and neck. At this stage, the main contours of the head and neck are specified. Adjust the oval of the head, making it more anatomically accurate. Add light outlines of the chin. Outline the neck, adjust its width so that it looks natural. Outline the line of the lower jaw and slightly highlight the cheekbones. Refine the transition from the neck to the shoulders, adding small curves. Step 3. Detailing the eyes and eyebrows. Now you can start working on the face. Using the horizontal eye line, start drawing the eyes, paying attention to their symmetry. Add the pupils and irises, make them expressive. Draw the eyebrows, giving the character a distinctive look. You can slightly outline the nose using thin lines. Step 4. Outlines of the clothes and detailing the body. At this stage, the main lines of the clothes are added. Outline the upper part of the clothes, emphasizing the collar. Draw lines indicating the location of the seams and folds. Use light lines to work on the chest and shoulders. Refine the proportions of the arms and torso if necessary. Step 5. Adding the hairstyle and detailing the face. The hairstyle gives the character a finished look. Outline the overall volume of the hair, taking into account the direction of its growth. Work on individual strands, avoiding too harsh lines. Add shadows where the hair covers the face. Refine the facial features, adjust the eyes, nose, and mouth. Step 6. Finishing the sketch and outlining. The last step is the final outlining and emphasizing the main details. Use darker lines to highlight the contours of the figure. Remove unnecessary sketch lines with an eraser. Add small shadows if you want to give the drawing volume. Check the symmetry of the face and correct any inaccuracies. In this way, gradually working out the details, you can create a high-quality sketch. Before starting to paint, I prepared 3 brushes. A thin one for drawing small details. Eyes, hair contours, clothing lines. A medium one for painting small areas. Face, hands, individual elements of the cloak. A fan brush for creating smooth transitions and textures in the background image. I used water as a solvent to dilute the acrylic and regulate its thickness. The beginning of the painting is the hair. I started with the hair, choosing a bright orange-yellow color. Using a medium brush, I applied the first layer of paint, trying to carefully paint over all areas without going beyond the contours. After the first layer dried, I added more saturated dark shades to create depth and convey volume. For this, I used a slightly damp brush so that the paints blended smoothly. Face and eyes. After the hair, I moved on to the face. I carefully painted the skin with a light beige shade and a small amount of water. First, I used liquid acrylic so that the paint lay evenly. I let the layer dry, then refined the details. The nose, shadows on the cheekbones, and the contour of the face. I drew the eyes with a thin brush, using white for the background, then added blue for the iris and black for the pupils and eyelashes. I emphasized the eyelids with a black outline, adding expressiveness to the look. A cloak. I chose a dark blue color for the cloak. First, I covered the entire area of the clothes with a medium layer of paint, using a medium brush. After drying, I added darker shades to the folds and sides, creating the effect of shadows and volume. I worked on the sleeves and details on the clothes with a thin brush to highlight the contours and lines. I first painted the white cuff on the hand with white paint, and then carefully added red and black lines for details. Hands and details. I painted the hands in the same way as the face. First with a basic light beige tone, then added shadows. To do this, I mixed the flesh color with a small amount of brown and water to create a soft, translucent layer. I enhanced the outline of the fingers and joints with a thin brush, highlighting the lines and small details. The background is a mixture of colors with a fan brush. I used a fan brush to create the background, as it allows you to easily make smooth transitions. I decorated the left side of the background with gray, blue, and black shades, creating gradient transitions with a texture effect. I started with a lighter tone, then added dark strokes, slightly blurring them with water. The right side of the background is made with yellow-orange paints. Here I used the smooth shading technique. First, I applied a light yellow color, then added more saturated orange strokes along the edges. The fan brush helped to create a textured effect, creating the impression of fiery flashes. The final stage is to clarify the details. Once the main colors were dry, I went back to refining the details. I outlined the hair and clothes with black paint, using a thin brush to emphasize the graphic quality. I added shadows on the face and hands and clothes using diluted acrylic shades. I adjusted the background, increasing the contrast between the light and dark sides. Conclusion. This process allowed me to create depth and expression in the drawing, and using different brushes helped to convey textures and smooth transitions. The fan brush was especially useful for the background, and the thin brush for the details. Using water as a thinner allowed me to adjust the density of the paint, making some areas softer and more translucent. Analysis of the painting. Overall impression. The painting is done with acrylic paints on thick paper and has a pronounced stylized character. It is clear that the artist sought to convey the mood and image of the character using rich colors and contrasting lines. The composition is focused on the central figure, and the background is abstract, with different color tones. What is good? Bright contrasting colors. The use of blue, orange, yellow, and black creates a strong visual effect. Expressiveness of the image. The red eyes and sharp facial features give the character a certain character and create a sense of mysticism or tension. Stylization. The artist chose a specific graphic style, reminiscent of anime or comics, which gives the work individuality. Clothing details. Folds are drawn, which adds volume and emphasizes the shape of the body. What could be improved? Anatomy and proportions. The head looks a little disproportionate to the body. It is slightly larger than it should be. The position of the hands is unnatural. They look too small and flat. It would be possible to detail the fingers and give the hands a more natural shape. The shoulder line is slightly skewed, which creates an impression of imbalance. If the goal was a strict symmetrical silhouette, then it is worth aligning the shoulders. Depth and shadows. The lack of a clear play of light and shadow makes the image flat. You can add shading on the folds of the clothes, under the chin, and also add highlights to create a sense of volume. The background is made in different colors, but without a clear understanding of the light source, which makes the picture less realistic. Contour lines. The red contours of the hair look too rough and stand out from the general background. It would be better to use a dark brown or a softer shade of orange for the outline, to make the transitions more natural. In some places, the outline of the clothes loses its clarity and looks sloppy. Perhaps it is worth using a thinner brush or a marker for even contours. The background is quite abstract, which can be an interesting solution, but it is unclear where exactly the character is. If the goal is to create an atmosphere, then you can add more texture, for example, a brick wall, sky, or mysterious shadows. The right edge of the painting is done in warm tones, the left, cold ones. But these areas are not connected smoothly. It would be better to add a gradient or soften the transitions between colors. Emotions and facial expressions. The character's face looks rather static, without pronounced emotion. Perhaps adding a little more detail to the eyes, eyebrows, or mouth can enhance the character's mood. What could be removed or changed? The overly bright hair outline. It dominates the image too much and makes the image rougher. The saturation of the black lines on the clothes. They are too contrasting and look like an additional layer, not part of the fabric. You can soften them or add more transitions in the shadows. Background colors without a clear concept. If the background is supposed to emphasize the character, then it is worth making it either more neutral or adding detail. Architecture, nature. What could be added? Additional details in the clothes, for example. The texture of the fabric, patterns, buttons, or symbols to enhance the uniqueness of the character. Play of light. Small highlights on hair, eyes, fabric will give the picture additional depth. Atmospheric elements, haze, highlights, shadows, reflections. All this can add drama and make the image more alive. A background with a clearer meaning. For example, a castle, a street, a space landscape. Something that will complement the character. Conclusion. The picture is interesting for its stylization, choice of colors, and expressiveness of the character. However, improving the anatomy, work with light and detail, will help make it more harmonious and professional. A great option for developing your own style.